One thing that we talk about quite often that's associated with ADHD is something called executive functioning. Now, if you've not heard of this before, your executive functions are essentially the way that your brain plans and organises and manages your time for you. On top of that, we've also got inhibition. So that's your ability to regulate your responses to things. So that's regulating your emotions, regulating your impulses, and also regulating your attention as well. Now, lots of people with ADHD can have difficulties in these areas. What this can lead to is difficulties with getting yourself organised physically, but also difficulties with organising your thoughts. And it can seem sometimes like your brain can be chaotic. I know I feel this personally. I feel like I really struggle to organise my thoughts and filter out what's relevant, what's irrelevant. It can also mean that you can have difficulties with your memory, particularly your working memory. You might forget things all the time. Someone tells you to do something, you go and do something else and it's gone. You might struggle to plan things and you might struggle to prioritise. And I know for me personally, when I have a to-do list and I've got lots to do in a short space of time, prioritisation is something that I can struggle with. I can really get overwhelmed and I can think, I don't know where to start here, and that can become quite overwhelming, and that doesn't help me with organising my thoughts. So they all kind of play into each other. Emotional control, I've mentioned, this can be a real difficulty for lots of people with ADHD, and obviously this can cause all sorts of issues in your work life and in your social life as well. Now, there are many support strategies that can be put in place to help you with your executive functions if they are an area that you're having difficulty with. For example, one thing that I do all the time is write to-do lists. Now, I used to be a teacher, and before I started my current job as a teacher trainer, and I would have to put everything down on a to-do list. Otherwise, working memory, I would completely forget what it was that I was supposed to do. What this enabled me to do was reduce my anxiety around forgetting things. So I'd be so worried that I was going to forget things all the time that I'd be constantly running around with this nervous energy. And actually, that anxiety didn't help me remember things at all. If anything, it made it a little bit worse. But what the to-do lists enable me to do is once I've written something down on that list, I know it's there and I know I'll see it when I need to see it. So it enables to reduce that anxiety, and I've externalized that into another format. So physical to-do lists work great, but you can also get lots and lots of apps that work fantastically for helping you to organize and create to-do lists. If you just put to-do list into whatever app store, there are thousands of apps and you can choose which one suits you best. I personally use one that enables me to create a different list for each day. The thing that I love most about it is when I get to the end of the day, and inevitably there's 5 or 6 things on there that I haven't had time to do, I can just move that into another list. And what that enables me to do is focus on what I have done rather than focus on what I failed to do and what I didn't have time to do. And I can move that into another day and focus on it when I've got more time. So to-do lists are fantastic for your executive functions. They don't work for everyone, and some people can feel overwhelmed by to-do lists. Some people prefer to have, a big wall chart and everything that they need to do is on there, and they put everything on that chart so it's nice and visual. You can see it on the wall and it helps you keep track of things. I have one of these at home just for kind of my household jobs, and I put everything on there. I don't just put cleaning on there, I put dust bedroom, Hoover bathroom, all of those sorts of things, and I break it down into small manageable chunks. And that's another thing that can really help you with your executive functions, particularly when it comes to attentional regulation, is breaking tasks down into those smaller manageable chunks. What that helps us to do is every time we tick something off that list, we get that dopamine hit, we get that sense of accomplishment, that sense of reward, and that feeling that we've achieved something. So breaking things down can really help. Some of the other things that can help generally, more general supports, are things like keeping to a routine, especially with your sleep as well, making sure that we get enough sleep and we're consistent with that. I know this can be a difficulty for lots of people with ADHD, but sleep can really help, as well as calming strategies. So meditation and mindfulness can help just to calm that mind a little bit, particularly if you've got difficulties with your emotional control, emotional regulation. Something that I struggle with myself. I practice lots of meditation and deep breathing exercises just to try and help me calm. But sometimes I need a little bit more than that. So sometimes I might do some exercise. So I'm someone who really likes running. I go out for a run most nights after work. And what I find is on the days where I haven't been running, some of my traits, some of my symptoms, some of my anxiety is a little bit higher when I haven't had that time to go and do that activity. So physical exercise can really, really help too. Giving yourself regular breaks, as I've mentioned, but on top of that, if you struggle with time management, setting alarms for things and using your apps on your phone, your reminder apps and things like that to make sure you know, okay, I've got 10 minutes left, or using a stopwatch or a physical, a sand timer, anything like that can really, really help you if they're some of the areas that you're having difficulty with. So they're kind of the general supports for executive functions, but there are absolutely loads out there. And some of those apps that I've mentioned, there are thousands of them. So have a little look, have a play around, because we know that the same thing doesn't work for everyone. So find what's right for you, play to those strengths, and put those support strategies in place for the things you find difficult.